Hello everybody, we are very pleased to be part of this conference. My name is Marilda Osmani and I'm a member of the Department of Chemistry from Elbasan University, and this study is a collaboration between our department and the Department of Meteorology from the Polytechnic University of Tirana. Our study deals with assessment of physicochemical properties of drinking water quality in Elbasan district. Water is very important to life on Earth. It covers more than 70% of the Earth's surface, but only 3% is fresh water. Drinking water sources include surface water, such as lakes, rivers, reservoirs, or groundwater, which is sometimes called aquifer. However, consumers receive their water from one of two sources: city water system or private wells. Water is essential to sustain life. The water quality is equally important like its quantity. It is considered that 260 liters of water is used by each person per day in a developed country in home. Different organizations have set the guidelines for drinking water quality, of which the primary purpose is the protection of public health. Sources of water pollution include industrial waste, wastewater and sewage, agricultural pollution, oil pollution, radioactive substances, river dumping, etc. The main focus of this paper is the assessment of physicochemical properties of drinking water, mainly from private wells in some villages of Elbasan district in Albania. We have been focused on the physical and chemical parameters, and we have measured water pH, conductivity, total hardness, chlorides, nutrients, sulfates, heavy metals such as iron in water samples. The results are then compared with the standards of drinking water from the EU directive, and we have evaluated the quality of drinking water wells in these villages. The private water wells are two types: dike wells. These are lined with stones, brick, tile, or other materials to prevent collapse. They have large diameters, less than 15 meters deep, but these are highly susceptible to contamination because they only obtain water from shallow aquifers. Another type of private wells are drilled wells. These are constructed by percussion or rotary drilling machines. These are thousands of feet deep and require the installation of casing. This type of wells have lower risk of contamination due to their depth and the use of continuous casing. The study area is focused in 5 villages of Elbasan districts. We have been taking water samples from private wells from May to September, and then we have analyzed the water samples for the physicochemical parameters based on the international standards of water analysis. The water quality parameters on which we have been focused are electrical conductivity, pH, chlorine, hardness, heavy metals, nutrients. We haven't been focused on biological parameters, which will be the focus of further studies of this area. The table shows the physical and chemical parameters of drinking water in Georgia, one of the villages taken in consideration. All the parameters: pH, conductivity, hardness, chlorides, ammonia, nitrites, nitrates, sulfates, and iron, are compared with the standard values from the EU directive. As it can be seen, in some cases the hardness is a little bit higher than the standard of the EU directive. Ammonia in 2 cases is higher than the directive, and nitrates in 3 cases is higher than the standard from the directive. The table 2 shows the physical and chemical parameters of drinking water in shoe sheets. The water taken from the wells in this area shows good parameters which are within the standards of the EU directives. Table 3 is shows the physical and chemical parameters of drinking water in Labinot-Foch. Only in one case the ammonia is a little bit higher than the EU standard, and the nitrate is a little bit higher only in one case. Table 4 shows the physical and chemical parameters of drinking water in Papar. The overall situation seems to be good. Hardness in one case is higher than EU directive, and nitrates only in one case is a little bit higher, shows a little bit higher value than the EU standard. Table 5 shows the physical and chemical parameters of drinking water in Bradashsh. As it can be seen, there are no problems regarding the chemical parameters, and only in one case the hardness, or only in 2 cases, the hardness is a little bit higher than the EU directive. As it can be seen from the results, the pH is within the range of the Council directive standards. The conductivity has a lower level of Gjoni concentration activity due to small dissolved solids. Hardness in Georgian in 2 cases, in Papar 2 cases, and Bradashsh in 2 cases are over 50, which is the EU standard. The presence of calcium ions and magnesium makes these water samples a little bit higher, to have a little bit higher hardness than the EU directive. Chloride is within the range of Council directive standards. Ammonia in 2 water samples in Georgian and one water sample in Labinot-Foch are over 0.5 milligrams per liter. Nitrites is within the range of Council directive standards. Nitrate in Georgian in 3 water samples, 1 water sample in Labinot-Foch and 2 cases in Papar are over 50 milligrams per liter. Sulfate is within the limits of EU standard, and iron concentration is also within the range of the EU standard. As a conclusion, we can say that presently the rural water system remain in desperate need of improvement. Wells are not built under the right conditions. They do not fulfill the hygienic sanitary norms and are not disinfected in all cases. The quality of water is also affected by the pipes' amortization, and as a result, rust is formed. Agricultural practices such as uncontrolled spreading of slurries and manure, soil tillage, use of pesticides and fertilizers can cause groundwater pollution, mostly during the rainy season. As a recommendations for the situation, it can be said that wells should be built by specialists that analyze the surroundings, choose the right materials and devices, and contemplate the environmental regulations. They require lots of planning and accurate drilling procedures. Private and collective wells should be regularly monitored, maintained, and well disinfected. People should pay attention to the use of chemical fertilizers, synthetic pesticides, and agricultural techniques used. People should be informed for the importance of water quality and risks associated with its consumption. Thank you very much for your attention.